Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenido, bienvenida a otra práctica de Internal Assessment for Spanish ab Initio. As you may have already seen, we're working with different videos for each one of the units of this syllabus. I am going to first explain the mechanics of the internal assessment. If you have seen it in another video, you can just fast forward and go straight to the images, but I am going to start from scratch for each one of the units. Yes. So first I'm going to explain what the internal assessment is going to look like. That I'm sure that you know that it's an interview between you and your teacher, discussing first some visual stimuli and then going on to another type of discussion. You have to do some prep work before you start doing the interview. And what we're going to see here is, again, we're going to revise what the internal assessment is going to look like, what is demanded from you for the internal assessment, and then we're going to see two practice examples that you could maybe want to give it a try with. Yes, so today we're going to be focusing on the unit that is experiencias. Bien. In total, the internal assessment will take something around 25 to 30 minutes, right? But the first 15 minutes, give or take, are prep work, okay? You're going to be given 2 images. You're going to choose one of those images, and then you're going to go to the back of the classroom or to the designated area you have given by your school to do some preparation. Now, on the visual stimuli, you're going to get 2 images like this, like a A4 type of image. Sometimes they are small, right? And these images will have either no text or very little text. The idea is that you are going to do your own interpretation, and you have to choose which unit links with this image that you're getting. Now, in most classes, or in many classes, there is an agreement between the class and the teacher about like narrowing down the possible topics for the visual stimulus. Right? Later on, you will be tested on all other things, right? Or you could be tested on all other things. But at first, in general, there is kind of an informal agreement on what are the images that are more likely to come up. But well, that depends on your teacher. Yes. Regardless of that, you will be tested on everything and you have to study everything. So it's not like a big deal. The first thing that I'm going to do when I choose my image, I take it to the back and I can, take notes and do bullet points. I'm going to prepare a description of the image. Remember that this is an audio exam. So whatever you say has to be very self-explanatory, because the teacher nor the moderator later on needs to know the image, right? So you have to describe as much as you can the thing that you are seeing. Then you have to explicitly link it with one of the 5 units of the syllabus. In our case, the 2 images that we're going to see are clearly linked with experiencias, but this is not written on stone, because as you have seen throughout the whole course, topics, concepts, etc., they intertwine, they overlap. So something that started out as experiencias later on is connected to human ingenuity, so on and so forth, right? Then, and this is I think the most important thing that could make a difference in your final grade, is that you have to link this with one aspect of the Spanish culture, the Spanish-speaking culture, the Spanish-speaking world. This is not that easy, especially if you have no personal connection to this, but throughout the course, you have been working with a lot of examples of how the Spanish-speaking world sees life, right, and sees the world. Maybe you have been more attracted or connected to one of the experiences of the Spanish-speaking world. Maybe you like Latin America more, and within Latin America, maybe you like the north of Latin America better than the south, or the other way around, or you would rather speak about Spain. That's for you to decide. Use the thing that caught your attention more, or that intrigued you more, right? And then you have to give a personal interpretation of the image. Then we're going to take a look at how could I interpret this image. It's very important that you do this prep work at the beginning when you have your 15 minutes prep work, because the internal starts with your solo presentation, right? You start speaking. The teacher can't help you. They can't say anything. So it's very important that you have like your bullet points so you don't blank, right? And you are kind of mute and you can't say things. Yes, use as much vocabulary as possible. Later on, picking up especially what your interpretation has been, the teacher may ask you like questions to further the discussion. For example, now we're going to see, well, two images. One of them, the second one is about some tourists, right? And maybe you can talk about, or the teacher may ask you, would you like to go on a trip like the one that is being presented in the image? Yes, no, advantages, disadvantages, etc. Right? Remember that part of the vocabulary that you have been learning in Spanish ab initio has to do with personal attributes, description of parts of your face, your hair, your clothes, colors, etc. Right? So resort to that if you can have on point vocabulary on the image that you're getting. Yes, I'm sure that you're going to be able to say something about all of them. And then the last part of the internal assessment will deal with another unit that you have worked with the teacher, right? So, okay, so we finished with experiencias. Let's go to, and then the teacher will choose what to ask you about. So you have to prepare everything. Yes, again, in this last part of the discussion, the focus is going to be Spanish-speaking culture. Yes, don't forget that this is a Spanish ab initio. Nobody's expecting you to be like fully 100% fluent, fully sophisticated with vocabulary, with analysis, etc. So if you can't, maybe you can't express yourself the way you want, but yes, you can show that you have learned and that you have been immersed in this thing about the Spanish, la cultura hispanohablante. Okay, so let's do two activities. I am going to speak about possible alternative ideas that you could throw in for starting the conversation. And ideally, as I always say, give it a try yourself. Try to write keywords, try to do the bullet points, especially the first part, the description, to see how it plays out for you. Bien, imagen número 1. See, clearly we have a quinceañera. See, this is something that we have seen in this videos course, and I'm sure that, or I'm persuaded that your teacher may have spoken about this ritual y celebración that is a part of the topic experiencias. We could speak first about the way she looks, her dress, the crown, the earrings, the cake with the decorations, like the strings that then the friends take out and they receive like a small prize, right? That are attached to that. But maybe if you don't know that, just think about how important this celebration looks, the Miss Quince looks, because we have all the souvenirs. We have this girl that again looks like a princess. Think about what is important about the celebrations, who participate in the celebrations. Think about the way the place is decorated, right? You can think about the combination of colors if you don't have a lot of vocabulary. Think about the flowers, las flores que están adornando el lugar, the candles, everything has kind of a cupcake, right? And a candle, and think about why this is an important celebration. Think about the effort that the family makes in order to have this celebration. Think about how this ritual of passage is relevant for the Spanish-speaking world. And then, of course, you can discuss or you can do a personal interpretation as to whether you would like to have a party like this. Have you attended to a party like this? Maybe you can compare it or think about how does this compare to a wedding celebration. Yes, and we can think about, again, whether in your country, in your culture, there is an equivalent for this. Maybe it's not when you are 15, but maybe it's when you turn 18, if there is any special birthday or any special celebration that you have. Again, what you can also speak about is this, how well prepared this is, even though you may not like it, right? Even though some people would find this very tacky, right? And others would find it classy, it doesn't matter. Yes, think about the effort that everyone is clearly making for giving this girl this celebration, right? Look at the dress. If you look at here, the skirt of the dress continues. Clearly, she's kind of a Disney princess, right? Or a bride, you know, something kind of sketchy there. I don't know. Me personally, I'm not into this type of celebrations, but they're very typical, right, of especially the Latin American world. And in some cases, and in some countries, and especially in some, you know, it kind of changes with the years. There are some trends where instead of having this massive celebration, the girl takes some of their friends for a short trip, right? Or sometimes the most classic thing is the party that, of course, families may start getting the money for the party maybe 2 years in advance, right? They start like prepaying all of this. It's a massive effort, but for many Latin American groups, especially Latin American, this is a big deal. Yes. And the second one, sorry, then of course, the teacher will move you on to another unit that we don't know which one it will be. This is something for your teacher to decide. Yes. So let's go now to the second one. And as I was telling you, here we have a tourist example, right? This is tourism. This is a Latin American country, right? You don't need to know which one it is. I'm going to tell you this is Bolivia. I know it, you don't need to know it. I know it because of the way this woman is dressed. And what you can think about is not only, it's to think about especially these guys, this clearly tourists, this tourist guys, right? Walking, these white people walking in this marketplace. You could think about the things that people are selling, mostly food, species, and other stuff. You could think about how disorganized this looks. This looks like a very kind of informal market. This woman is here with her, I don't know, cart selling bananas. And I don't know, this looks dangerous, right? Because the bus is about to, well, it's next to her. I don't know if this is the bus stop. Maybe it is. We could even think about in the back, we see the buildings that are kind of half finished. And we could think about this type of tourism where people, you know, they go there to know about how other people live, and they don't go to the typical tourist side or to the beach or to the Caribbean, right? To go to this all-inclusive hotels, right? They try to know what is it like to live here, for example, in Bolivia. You know why we know that these are tourists? Not only because they are like super white, it's because they have their backpacks to the back. And in Latin America, we just don't do that, right? Because it's in many places it is dangerous. We use it like to the front because it's dangerous to have somebody like opening your backpack from the back, right? And not everywhere, but yes, in many places. So that's how I know this guy is a tourist. And this one, a little bit like ahead, these two also look like tourists, right? But again, maybe the question, you could describe the colors, you could describe the contrast between the people that are visiting and the people that are living here. We could even speak about, if you want to go to transport, that is also linked with another unit, you could speak about the way these buses, what do they look like? We could speak about the fact that the streets are dirty. And then, of course, the idea would be, would you like to have a trip like this? Would you like to go on a holiday to a place like this? Why yes, why no? You could even speak about weather if you have very little to say, right? This looks like nice weather, I think. I don't know, they're in shorts, the tourists. We could even think about how the way the woman is dressed also conveys some kind of rituals or practices or traditions, not rituals, but traditions that are very common in Latin America. We could even go back to the Identidades unit and think about whether this food looks healthy or not. So there are many things to say about this. You know, don't be baffled, right, by the amount of information the picture has. Just focus on what you know and start small, right? Maybe I have the thing that my focus is basically colors. Okay, fine. Then focus on colors. Yes, focus on whether you would like to do this type of tourism or you would rather go to a hotel, a beach, and what have you. Yes, so as I said, write down whatever you can about this image. Remember to allow yourself around 15 minutes to do it and practice as much as possible, at least with the thing that you can work with, that is the description and the interpretation of the source. You can either say, you can endorse what these tourists are doing by saying, wow, they're trying like to get in touch with people that live differently from them, and they want to maybe later on raise awareness on the possible challenges that these people are facing. Or you can criticize them and like criticize them for going there and like being voyeurs of how other people live in a more in a poorer state. I don't know, whatever you want, that works. Yes, write as much as possible. Good luck, and por favor sigue practicando. Nos vemos en la próxima en el próximo ejemplo de internal assessment. We're going to go to, I think, human ingenuity, ingenio humano. Nos vemos. Muchas gracias. Chao.